In this course, you'll encounter multiple coding exercises to solidify your programming and analytical skills. I'm sure you'll get the gist after completing just a few. As a first step, please take the time to watch this video covering the essential differences between coding locally and coding in the browser. To begin with, please remember that to solve the coding exercises, you'll only need techniques and code we've explained throughout the video lectures and the articles. That's why we advise you to always follow the order of the course items. Secondly, if you wish to complete only the coding exercises from a specific section, please refer to the relevant videos provided beforehand to obtain clarification. Then, crucially, if you need further assistance, compare your work with the code files provided in the resources section of the lectures corresponding to those coding exercises. Although the latter sometimes intends to use different data, completing the tasks locally still tests the same techniques as the coding exercises. Finally, if this doesn't help, feel free to write in the Q&A section of the course, and we'll be happy to provide the relevant guidance. Without further ado, let's see a practical example. On the left-hand side, in the Instructions tab, you'll find the exercise title, task, and a link to the lecture that covers this task's topic. In this case, you're asked to produce an output equal to click OK. To solve the exercise, you need to provide code on the right. Let's intentionally make a few mistakes to explore different scenarios you may encounter. Assume you want to try to solve the given problem by executing click correct, where only correct has been written as a string. If you press Run Code, you'll get an error message stating that you didn't follow Python syntax. Naturally, there's no way to successfully solve a Python coding exercise under such circumstances. If you enclose the expression in single quotes and then run the code, you'll obtain a statement saying, "Run completed," meaning that you provided valid Python code. Will that mean you have solved the task correctly? To check that, you'll need to press Run Tests. The results say you failed, and at the bottom of the error details, you can see that a wrong string had been inserted. What might we have done incorrectly? First, never forget that Python is a case-sensitive language. So let's capitalize the first letter of click and change correct to OK. Executing the line of code shows that it abides by the Python syntax. But when running the tests, we fail again. Why? To obtain click OK, as shown in the task text, you'll need to pass this string as an argument of the print function. This will deprive your output of the quotes. Running the code confirms the run was completed and displays the provided string. Does this piece of code solve the given task? Yes. As a result, you'll obtain success. As a side note, remember that sometimes there may be multiple solutions. But please always solve the exercise as instructed because we not only check for correct Python code, we also verify whether you're carefully following the steps outlined, much like you would expect to do in a real-world business and analytical environment. Finally, after conducting a successful or unsuccessful test, you can check your answer with the suggested one. To do the latter, check Solution Explanation at the top left part of the screen. So I guess you figured it out. As long as you've obtained success, you can move on to the next lecture or exercise. Let's consider another example. This time using Python lists. Don't worry if you're not familiar with this topic yet, you'll learn about it in the following course sections. In brief, a Python list is a structure containing values that can be manipulated. You'll always be required to write the entire solution code yourself. Part of it will sometimes be provided, as is the numbers list provided here. Unless specified otherwise, you won't have to alter it. Subsequently, you'll only need to add lines of code. After that, all rules regarding running code and tests shall apply. With all that in mind, You might wonder, should you code in the browser or work locally using Jupyter? Of course, the two can act as substitutes. Code locally if you're experiencing connection issues, or code online if your software installation isn't working. Ideally, you should do both since the more you practice, the more knowledgeable you'll be when encountering challenges in a working environment. Here are the benefits of following each of these approaches. Coding in the browser exercises have been constructed to assist you in learning the material quickly. There, we can check if you can answer a programming or analytical task precisely without adding unnecessary lines of code to the solution. These factors make the coding exercises more challenging. The environment itself is more similar to Spider or PyCharm than to Jupyter, meaning the output may look different when using the print function, even though the code itself remains unchanged. This only helps you get used to applying your Python coding skills in a slightly different setting, as would sometimes be the case in a professional context. Alternatively, working in your local coding environment also has its benefits. Exploring Python capabilities, such as trying other solutions for the tasks in the coding exercises, can deepen your skills. Applying a specific code structure to a different dataset or revising code from previous lectures would also be easier. In addition, you could explore new commands or combine the solutions from multiple exercises into a single file. There's just one important caveat to consider. Obtaining a result won't necessarily mean you've correctly answered the analytical question. Nevertheless, with these notes in mind, Jupyter can lay the foundation for you to become a truly autonomous Python user. To sum up, if you don't manage to solve a coding exercise on the first try, then we encourage you to repeat the instructions because we usually look for a correct result and comply with the required steps. Rewatch the reference videos because returning to them is perhaps the best way to learn the new material. Check with the solution explanation provided in the final tab. Or if none of these are helpful, feel free to post in the Q&A section. To conclude, remember that when coding in the browser, we're not only asking you to provide code that adheres to the relevant language syntax, but also looking for a response to a specific task. The effort will be worthwhile. The coding exercises will strengthen your ability to understand tasks and interpret analytical results. Use the lecture references, hints, and suggestions, and enjoy the journey. Good luck!